I'm Andrew Schwartz, and you're listening to The Truth of the Matter, a podcast by CSIS where we break down the top policy issues of the day and talk with the people that can help us best understand what's really going on. Here with Dr. Victor Cha, our Korea chair and president of our geopolitics and foreign policy department here at CSIS. Victor, we've got a lot to talk about. South Korea just impeached its president, President Yoon. Lee is the Democratic Party candidate who's in the lead right now, but they're trying to get a more moderate candidate. What does this all mean for South Korea, especially in wake of the new reciprocal tariffs that President Trump rolled out on Wednesday? You've called it a quiet crisis in your writing, in your commentary that's on CSIS.org. Tell us what this all means.
Yeah, Andrew. So last night, the South Korean president, the Constitutional Court, upheld the impeachment of President Yoon. So he's out of office literally today. He's out of office. And South Korea is going to go into a 60-day election campaign period, and they're going to elect a new president in the beginning of June, who will start. There's no transition period. He or she would start the next day. And yeah, you're right. Right now on the progressive side, the DPK party, the leading candidate is Mr. Lee, who is at least 25 points above any of the candidates on the conservative side, although we're still very early on. We're like in the first inning of this. And so there's a lot more to go for sure. But I think in many ways it was a victory for democracy in Korea. I mean, what happened was that the president of South Korea tried to impose martial law, something that hasn't happened in South Korea since the military dictatorship days, like 40 years ago. And he was impeached for that. And the Constitutional Court, in a unanimous decision, agreed that you're out. Like you're out. And
yeah, it was 8-0, wasn't it?
It was 8-0. But what's also important to note was that of those 8 judges, 6 of them were appointed by conservative presidents, right? Mm-hmm. 6 of them were appointed by basically Yoon's side, the impeached president's side, and all 6 of them voted to oust him from office. So it was like a definitive statement, and really goes to show like the strength that like people respect the courts in Korea. They respect the court decision. They respect the democratic institutions. So I think that's good. So we have 60 days, and we have this election in June, and we'll see what happens.
And the process really worked. And what you're saying is the process really worked.
The process really works. And the other thing to remember is the guy who was impeached, Yoon, when he was elected 2 years ago, his margin of victory was less than 1%. It was less than 1%. And the loser, the opposition side, conceded, like said, I respect the results of the election. I concede. And there was no contesting of the elections, no storming of the Capitol, nothing like that. So
real democracy at work.
Yeah. So you got to give them credit for that. But like as you said, this is all happening when there is this torrent of tariffs raining down from the United States on South Korea. The reciprocal tariffs of April 2nd, in which Korea is being tariffed at I think 25%. They have a $66 billion trade surplus with the United States, which Trump hates. Korea's got like the 4th largest trade surplus with the United States of Indo-Pacific and NATO countries. Then there's also the steel and aluminum tariffs at 25%. The 25% tariffs on Mexico, which affect Korea because they have a lot of manufacturing in Mexico that they export to Korea. And then there's the foreign auto tariff, right, for all these Korean cars that are being exported to the United States. So it's like a quadruple whammy for Korea at a time when their government, they don't have a government. Right, and this is going to go on for another 2 months. So this is why I called it a quiet crisis in the alliance, because we've never seen anything like this before, where you have basically the United States moving at 100 miles an hour and the South Koreans literally stuck in neutral for 4.5 months and then for another 2 months.
So Victor, how are they going to resolve this? How are they going to negotiate with President Trump? Are they simply just going to pay the tariff, deal with the tariff until they have new leadership, or are they going to try to negotiate somehow?
They've tried to negotiate something. They've had like trade delegations come over, try to negotiate exemptions, completely unsuccessful. Foreign business leaders are coming over from Korea, meeting with governors and others, not effective. I mean, Korea has a good story to tell in that they have literally hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in the United States, like in autos, EV batteries, semiconductors, predominantly in red states like Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Arizona. This investment has created like 80,000 jobs for Americans in the United States. So they have a good argument to make, but they have no one to make it because with the Trump administration, you got to talk directly to the boss, right? To the leader.
Sure.
And there's no way the White House is going to talk to some acting president who will be out of office in 2 months. So it's a real dilemma. It's a real dilemma for them. And they're just going to have to sit down and take the brunt of it until they can get a new government in place as soon as they can in June.
So this is going to be painful and costly over the next couple months. And then once a new leader is elected, they're going to have to act fast or the pain's going to continue.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, in general, like perceptions of the United States and Korea are very high, like very positive, 85,
Sure.
90% very positive. And
In large part because of the cars and the culture.
Yeah, that's right. And there's usually, the United States is usually never an issue in election. But I think in this election, whoever are the candidates, they're going to be asked, like, what are you going to do about these tariffs? Like, what are you going to do about Trump tariffs? So it'll be interesting to see how they answer that question.
Victor, as always, really insightful and really important stuff. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
If you enjoyed this podcast, check out our larger suite of CSIS podcasts. From Into Africa, The Asia Chessboard, China Power, AIDS 2020, The Trade Guys, Smart Women, Smart Power, and more. You can listen to them all on major streaming platforms like iTunes and Spotify. Visit csis.org/podcasts to see our full catalog.